All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. All right, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Root Teach Well, Wabarakathum, unto the hopeful elect. All right, now today through the Spirit, I like to go into a video, entitled Content with Yahawashi. Right? Content with, Yahawashi, and that's what, the Lord is ultimately building us up to be nourished and satisfied from having that relationship with the Lord, and then the Lord just supping with you. You know what I'm saying? That's, when you read John 6:63, it speaks about the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. These words I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. And also in the same chapter, it speaks about how Yahawashi said, I am the bread that coming down from heaven. Like he's the manna that's meant to nourish you, give you that true nourishment, and aid your body and everything it needs. Right? You got a spirit of the Lord. And how does that happen? You got to do like Revelation 3, knock. Knock on that door. We're speaking to myself first and foremost. We can always do that more. The way the spirit gets sent, the way you build that relationship is by what? Fast, praying, reading, continually being in the Word, being amongst the body. That's how you tap into the spirit. That's how you sup with the Lord. Because you're doing actions that will require the spirit to come upon you. You see, that's how you sup. Like I said, being amongst the body, being inside the Word by reading, fasting, and prayer. That's all going to lead to the spirit being sent into you, because it has to come to do those actions, those spiritual things, which will lead to Yahawashi dealing with you. So that's the nourishment that comes via through Word and through having that spirit upon you, the spirit of Yahawashi. You see, and that's the point of the grace period. We're building up that relationship and building up in the spirit to be content with just having the truth, to having Yahawashi, having that relationship. Because at the end of the day, that's gonna matter. That's all that's gonna matter whenever we're in a time of Jacob's trouble. Whenever you're getting faced with a famine, plagues, and all the hell, it's that relationship with Yahawashi that's gonna matter. Who's one of his elect that was chosen? Who has that sincere heart that actually, truly made use of that grace period and feared Yahawashi while everybody else didn't. They truly had faith and they feared him during this grace period. And those who didn't have that pure mind state, who had a mind state of malice, trying to do evil, be a hypocrite, and trying to get over on people and things of that nature, they're gonna be jacked up in Jacob's trouble. They didn't do right during the grace period. So that's the point. During the grace period, we're learning to be content with the manna. So we're going to go through tribulation and hell and, various trying situations. But what? Yahawashi was there. That bread from heaven was there. We were in the wilderness. And it was in the chariots, watching over us, keeping us protected, guiding us. Right? We always had provision. But it's that being content with that provision. That's why the scriptures say the angel of the Lord encampeth around about him that feareth him and delivereth them, right? To keep you alive in famine and in death. When you read Psalms 33. But Psalms 34 says the angel of the Lord encampeth around about him that feareth him. So the spirit, angels, they're preserving particular spirits. You see? They're going to give particular spirits the ability to be in jacked up situations and be delivered. Which we're going to be in a lot of these jacked up situations that the prophets were in of old. Because scripture say what? The servant is not greater than his Lord. So a lot of the men that follow Yahawashi, they call hell. They went through trials. Which our trials are still in the beginning stages. Because Jacob's trouble is going to be the ultimate trial when they make this thing mandatory. And as they increase this AI, it's going to lead into that mandatory implementation of that Revelation 13 and 16, which that's when we're really going to get tested. As people are really going to start like betraying you, and that's when the demons really gonna ramp up in that time. They're already ramping up now, but they're really gonna ramp up when it's famine out here, pests and plagues going on. Then they bring that sea up out. That's when people gonna really start showing their true colors. When it gets in a situation where it's kill or be killed. Because right now people still are kind of decent with their finances. You know what I'm saying? People struggling, but people still able to make it. They still able to go to the stores. Ain't no famine right. The famine ain't fully kicked off yet. It's in the beginning stages of it. But this war is still happening. They ain't got control over the strait. Then other nations are, because of this war, you know what I'm saying? Nah, I ain't trading with this nation. I ain't doing this with that nation. A lot of nations are suffering from this war that's happening. So it's already hitting in other places way harder than here. But once it starts hitting here, you're going to see a lot of people. It's going to be a shift, a huge shift. Right now it's shifting, but it's not the huge shift yet. It ain't the climax. The climax is going to be when they bring out that MOTB. You know, we're already in World War III, beginning of it, but that climax is going to be when they bring out that C-hip, the MC hammer. Right? That, and he try and say, oh, you got to put in your hand on your forehead, and you can't have nothing unless you take this device. And then they're gonna start using that social credit thing. This is gonna be hell when they make this stuff digital. They're gonna start jacking people up. Oh, you can only buy XYZ amount of stuff. You can only do this. So let's say somebody has had great riches and then they take that C-hip, they're gonna be like, no man, they gonna be able to control how much you can spend. Like, nah, you gotta pay XYZ amount for this. You know what I'm saying? And people are gonna feel it in that point. They're gonna be tight, they'll be mad. Motherfuckers gonna be like, damn man, I gotta do this. They gonna be pissed off. But that's what the Lord's doing as a judgment, to judge a lot of these people. You see? But the point is, hey, we gotta be satisfied with the manna. Okay? Satisfied with Yahawashi. You know, Yahawashi is gonna protect us and keep us governed and shielded and protected. You see? That's how we're gonna have hedges of protection over us. Through Yahawashi. Right? It's not gonna be through anything else but serving the Lord. So that's what we got to look into when we, you know, desiring to be delivered and stuff. Hey, Yahawashi is going to keep us protected. He's going to nourish our spirits and our lives and our minds to be able to endure the hell, you know, and continue to keep going. You see, he's not going to be through anything else, right? So the point I wanted to go into is, hey, we got to look into Yahawashi. He's the manna. He's going to be the way we protect it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing else. That's how we're going to be nourished. You see, the scriptures say, riches profit not in a day of wrath, but righteousness delivered. You see, that's how we're going to get delivered. And how are we deemed as righteous? By serving the Lord, having that relationship with the Lord. You see, so the men that have built up that relationship and, you know, done what they're supposed to do, they're going to be shielded and protected, and the Lord's going to be with them in this time of Jacob's trouble. You see? So that's the point I wanted to go into in this quick hit. You know, it's quick video. You know, the true nourishment. That Yahawashi is the manna. He's that bread of life. It says, I am the way, the truth, the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. You see, and we're going to continually be building that during this grace period. Lord willing. I brought this I continue to endure. And, you know, when we had these low moments, we got to tap back into the manna. The simplicity in Yahawashi. Just, hey, the manna was simple. It just gave us what we needed. You know? So as time goes on, we got to tap back into that. You know, getting into that manna from heaven. You know what I'm saying? Just tapping into Yahawashi more as this grace period goes. You see? Because he's going to be a way we protect it. You know, there's other stuff ain't gonna deliver you. It's going to be Yahawashi. Right? And it's simple. It's not complex. It's not diverse. It's, you know what I'm saying? It can be like the doctrine doesn't change. It's an everlasting doctrine, because when the Spirit's working with you, you keep getting all these revealings, but the point is the point. We need Yahawashi to deliver us out of here, right? And he has to change us to a new body. And this kingdom has to go down first, you know, and so on and so forth. It's the same doctrine, the same thing. So it's not no difference to us. That's why people get tired of the manna, because they want something different. But that Yahawashi says the simplicity in Yahawashi. So we have to tap into that, you know, which is the flesh is going to want different, but we got to be willing to we got to attach from this flesh and be in the spirit. and accept that nourishment. Accept, the Lord showing He love us by keeping us protected and shielding us. You see? So that's the point I wanted to go into in this quick hit, man. Hey, Yahawashi, the manna, that's what we got to be content with. But anyways, Lord willing, this quick lesson edified. It gave exhortation. I like to end it off by saying, Call hello, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rakak Radash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, great millstone, room teach well. The next time, come out, Shalom.